Sorry, should have tested your mic, homie. Welcome back. Happy Thirsty Thursday, Whiners, and happy almost Halloween. This episode is going to be out right before Halloween, so happy Halloween, motherfuckers. It's a solo episode with your girl P. I'm not a big Halloween girly, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like, obviously, when I was a kid, I was Avril Lavigne, skater boy, cute costume. But like, I don't know. I just feel like I really left Halloween behind me. As a teenager in my young 20s, I feel like Halloween and New Year's Eve are just constant disappointments. It's like people are talking about this big fun party to go to and you get all dressed up and spend all this money on a costume, and then it's really not that fun. But maybe I could give it another try as like a real adult now that I'm 33. I'm mature. Maybe it could be a different vibe for me. As usual here in Texas, I just go trick or treat with my my friends and my nieces, and that part is fun. And we do a little dress up situation, but like I don't go all out with makeup and stuff like that. I mean, let's be honest, when do I go all out with makeup and shit anyway? But that is fun. But do you know what? I actually still don't love it. No offense to my friend who may be listening to this. I get a little. You guys, guess what? I have anxiety. I know. Who would have guessed it? I get a little anxiety on Halloween because of the, crowds, because of the poisonous candy or the weapons that people put in candy these days, kids running amok through the dark streets, not looking one way or the other, dogs on the loose, black cats, like, I don't know. It's just not my vibe. So I don't even love the actual act of trick-or-treating as an adult supervisor anyway. But it's okay. I mean, it's still fun. I'm just saying it's not like my most favorite thing in my entire life. This year, me and my friend Kristen are going as Sharon Dion from Clueless. Wait, did we do that or did we do Romeo and Michelle? No, that's what we decided on. Yeah, Clueless. So that'll be cute. I did get like the cheap costume though. It's like the Cher costume is just like a solid dress rather than the skirt, the shirt, the vest, the jacket, because your girl's on a budget. You know what I mean? I just feel like I've been doing so many guest episodes, which I love. So I always want to slip a little solo one in there. You know what I mean? Just raw dog it with you guys. I feel like there's like a few different sagas we have to go through. First, let's talk about my apartment saga. The never ending. I've been in this apartment March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. 7 months. Wow. Okay. Maybe I'll stick it out. Earlier today, I was like, how do I get out of my lease early? Like, what kind of threatening remarks can I make to this property manager to like get out of my lease early? And it's like, I love the location. I love where I live. But it's one thing after the other in this apartment that goes wrong. Thank God the weather has been nice lately. Like, it truly is sweater weather here in Houston. Love that for me. However, that also means that we just had some rain the past week or so, maybe 2-3 days in a row, which was lovely, except for it started leaking in from my patio door, water onto my floor, which it wasn't too terrible. I did take a photo and document it and send it to my property manager, which he had like nothing to say about it. I sent him the photo and I was like, hey, just so you know, this is, making water damage and you should know and you should get it fixed because it's going to be raining. He asked which apartment I was in. I told him, and then he never responded again. Never heard from him again. Then my downstairs neighbor was like, hey, have you had any leaking problems? And I told her, and she's like, oh my God, me too. Apparently it was pouring into her bedroom where like her computer desk and computer is, and pouring in from her bathroom window. And she called him to tell him this. And he's like, oh God, like I'll get something over straight away. I'll get someone over straight away. She hasn't heard from him. So it's just like, I think I'm constantly thinking if I did need something really bad, an emergency, I know that it wouldn't be fixed, and that really bothers me. So that's just, I don't know. That's the apartment saga. We're just ongoing, but I guess I've already been here 7 months, so I'll stick it out. And I'm going to, when I do move out, and ask for my entire security deposit back. and like money towards my mental health and therapy, because that's what he's driven me to, I am going to refer him back to specific episodes where I've listed all the issues that have gone on with this apartment. So that's my apartment saga. The next saga is my body issues, right? Like hip problems, ankle problems, knee problems, shoulder problems, neck problems, fucking problems. And I just recently did this event. It's called Southern Smoke. And I actually was excited to tell you guys about this because I had no idea it existed until last year. So as you guys know, great idea, redhead Rachel Carlson, who owns Traveling Spirit Bar. She did this event. She had like 6 or 7 bartenders through Tito's and through Campari. They hired her to do this huge event. So it's where these chefs get together and throw this big, I guess, I don't know, charitable festival for people in the food and beverage industry. And it does include California, which I think was the reason why I was so surprised about not knowing anything about it. So anyway, I worked that over the weekend, and where do I file my workers' comp? Through redhead, great idea, Rachel, because I think I made 1,500 Aperol spritzes. Like I got there at 2, left at 9, party started at 3. From 3 to 8, I just did this motion: Aperol spritzes, Aperol spritzes, Aperol spritzes, and my shoulder will never be the same. I'm just not in bartending shape anymore. You know what I mean? Like there's a shape to be in as a bartender. Like, and also let's not forget about that carpal tunnel I've had recently in my wrist. Like, so we are just batting negative 1,000 here. But to highlight the Southern Smoke event, I wanted to tell you that. So it's Southern Smoke Foundation. It's southernsmoke.org. And I'm saying this because obviously I have so many friends and family that have been in the restaurant industry and also are still in there. So basically, through our mental health program Behind You, we provide no-cost mental health counseling for F&B workers and their families in California, Illinois, Louisiana, New York, and Texas. Those who live outside of the service states can apply for financial assistance for mental health crisis through our emergency relief fund. The relief fund is, over the years, our nonprofit funds have been used to pay for essentials like groceries, clothing, and medications, and have covered the cost of rent, natural disaster damages, lost wages, and more. There's no deadline for requests, no cap on the amount given. Grants are awarded based on an unforeseen financial crisis. You have to submit applications. You must be currently employed in food and beverage and working a minimum of 30 hours per week, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, check out southernsmoke.org, because I thought, like, wow, back in the day when I was working full-time in bars and restaurants, that would have been nice to know about, or if it existed back then. So anyway, there's that. But like, also, Rachel, where do I file my workers' comp claim? Because it hurts. I'm in pain. Besides that, like, okay, the real saga you guys probably want to know about is the dating saga. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm very irritable right now. Like, if you're not coming at me correct, don't come at all. I am more catch me if you can than ever. I am not entertaining you if you're not coming at me like with conversations, like on the app, for example. I matched with someone. I said, like, happy Friday. What are you up to? His response Saturday was LOL nothing. Unmatch. I'm unmatching you. I'm not even giving you any more time. Like, LOL nothing. It's the day after Friday. Like, come up with something else. LOL nothing. I wasn't up to anything. What did you do? Like, start a conversation with me. And if you're not, that means you have you're not going to try. You don't have any effort. And I'm unmatching you. So that's been me lately. I'm unmatching you at the first sight of non-response, at the first sight of not being funny, at the first sight of not being like interested, at the first sight of not planning a date. Unmatch, unmatch, and match. So that's that. But I have to tell you, on the opposite side, I did recently go on a first date with somebody who was so the opposite, and that also turned me off. So it's just like, I'm hard to fucking please right now. Catch me if you can. Like, hence that, you know? This guy was so I told you guys, like, I'm pretty much not sharing my phone number or my social media from a dating app anymore. Maybe if you catch me on a very good day, I will, but probably not, because I just feel like it comes really pen pally. I've told you that before, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, this guy was very, 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 very chatty Cathy throughout the app. And he did ask me out. He asked me on a coffee date. And I said, can we go somewhere funner? Because he suggested Starbucks. And he's like, well, let's go on a walk at Memorial Park. And I was like, well, I just meant a funner coffee shop, but okay, fine. So we go on a walk at Memorial Park, and this is the end of walking dates for me. I'm not going on another first date as a walking date because of the following reasons. I have my own podcast, right? Obviously, I can talk to a fucking blank wall and a camera for 45 minutes. I can talk to anyone. Put me in a room with executives, I got you, boo. Put me in a room with servers and bartenders, got you, boo. Like, put me in a room with kindergartners, got you, boo. I can talk to anyone. So for me to go on a walking date, I can talk to you, no problem. It's, I don't want to say boring, but it's not providing the environment to create any sort of emotional excitement. Is that the word? Attachment, connection, because I am, and maybe that's a me problem. Like, I'm not going to be shy. Like, user error for sure. Maybe people are like fucking in the corner on walking dates. I don't know, but not me. I'm like, is this date over? I'm tired. I'm sweaty. I'm hungry. Like, I'm good. I don't want to do this anymore. So I just feel like for me, no more first date as a walking date. Has nothing to do with the spending money. For everyone who may say that, it's not that. It's just, it doesn't make me attracted to you. It doesn't produce those feelings for me because we're just on a walk. There's, kids running amok. There's people running past us. I have very bad anxiety in public places anyway, so I'm constantly like watching over my back. I kind of can't concentrate on what you're saying, but like I'm still talking to you. So I've decided that I'm done doing that. But that specific guy was pretty funny because he was so I think he was me in a man form, actually. He was a very big overthinker. He needed reassurance, and he didn't seem that confident, which I am confident, but I do need reassurance, and I am a overthinker. But basically, so he asked me, okay, can we go on a walk at this time? I said, okay. So we went at 9 o'clock or 9:30 on a Saturday morning. The day before, he's like, what time did we say? Or what time are we going on a walk? And I said, I think we said 9:30. He's like, okay, cool. What time are you going to leave your house? And in my head, I didn't answer this, but I'm like, doesn't matter what time I fucking leave my house. You don't know where I live. As long as I see you there at 9:30, bro, whether that means I live 45 minutes away or 2 minutes away, I'll see you at 9:30. And I just didn't answer. And then the next morning he texts me, good morning. And I said, or DM'd me on the app. I said, morning. And he said, what time are you leaving, or have you left yet? I said, I didn't answer until I left. And I said, I'm leaving now, which was at 9:10. So I will see you at 9:30. So I said, I'm leaving now. He goes, okay. And then I get there, I say parked, and he goes, he's like, where are we meeting again? And we had already said this, like, we're parking at Memorial Park, or we're going to Memorial Park by the tennis courts. You're the one who suggested this fucking idea. Like, that's what bothered me too, is I just feel like you're the one who suggested this idea and you're just not confident, and you don't know where we're parking, you don't know where we're meeting, you don't know where I'm talking about. So then he was like, he's like, where are we meeting again? I said, by the tennis courts. Like BYYYYYY THEEEEEEE. Like, I wanted him to know that, like, you're annoying me. Stop asking me repetitive questions. And he goes, sheesh. I was like, we already went over this. So anyway, we get there. I say I'm here by the bench area, whatever, by the tennis courts. He's like, can't see you. I'm in a gray sweatshirt with Astro socks. And I'm like, I'm with a group of 100 people. Like, if you're at the right area, it's where the 100 people are all standing. Do you see a group of 100 people? He's like, no. I'm like, you're in the wrong area. So it's just like, again, like I'm never doing this walking date again. Like, so finally I move around a little bit. I see the guy in 2 seconds and I message him. I said, I see you. And he looks up and he's like, and I said, what part of by the bench and tree waiting area did you get was over there in the middle of the woods? How are you going to find me over there? You were looking at trees. The 100 people are over here. He's like, sorry. I'm like, now I'm annoyed. Like, we're starting off this date and I'm annoyed because you're incompetent. Incompetent. How do you say that? Incompetent. So then he's like, sheesh, like, sorry. And I was like, it's okay. If you were going to have such a hard time seeing someone and you wanted to make sure about it, next time you can make a reservation at a restaurant. And he's like, yeah, noted. Okay. So anyway, we go on a walk. I'm a bitch. I know. I get it. That's what y'all are thinking after hearing that. We go on a walk. The actual conversation is fine. Like I said, I can talk to anyone. Blah, blah, blah. But then we get to my car and he's like, can I have your number? And I was like, all right, this guy was cool. We have some things in common. He works in film. Sure. And then he's like, all right, I'm going to text you. And I was like, and I already knew that from his DMing style, he's going to just really text me too much. And I said, don't text me too much. He's like, I'm going to text you. I was like, don't do it too much. I said it twice. So he texts me immediately, which I always appreciate. Like, had a great date, talk to you soon. No problem. Like, I do enjoy that. Thank you. Please let me respond then before you then blow me up on Hinge. This guy texted me. I didn't respond quick enough. 15 minutes later, I go to respond and I get a notification from Hinge saying he sent me a message on Hinge. So he texted me and messaged me on Hinge within 15 minutes. I texted him back. I said, did you just DM me on Hinge? He said, yeah, I wanted to make sure you got my text. And I said, sorry, dude, I'm not feeling the vibe. Immediately. What? No, it's too much. I literally said, don't text me too much. And you went against my orders. My orders, like I'm a king or queen. But seriously, like, lay off. Don't play hard to get, but like, don't be up my ass. Get off my jock. So that's where I'm at with the dating thing. Just still at ground zero is where I am. That's where I am. And honestly, I'm fine with it. I talked to my niece today and she's like, how's the dating? How's guys? I was like, I honestly just like don't care. They all irritate me. I'm in a stage where I'm just very irritated. So you can't do anything right. If you do it right, everything you do is wrong. So best just not to talk to me, That's the warning for you all. What else have I been up to? Oh, yes. I went to Shannon Ford's live podcast event in Houston. I guess at this point the episode comes out last weekend. It was so amazing. Do you guys know who Shannon Ford is? She was on the show Very Cavallari, however you pronounce it, Kristen Cavallari's show. I think it was on E, where she had the jewelry store. And Shannon's the redhead. She, I think, got fired from the show. Anyway, good for her. She fucking took off on a rocket ship up to the top. She's a huge influencer now, and she's hilarious. So, honestly, I'm not like a diehard fan of hers, but I saw that she was coming out to Houston for fun and for research. I was like, gotta go to that live podcast event. I went with Carolyn, and we had the best time. It was in downtown. We got there early. We went and got drinks and food. I am so impressed. Like, as a fan and a listener to her podcast and watched her on the show and follow her on Instagram, so fun. So, like, such a pleasurable experience. She was hilarious. She essentially did an hour and a half stand-up comedy routine. Like, she's not a comedian, but for an hour and a half, she got her ass up there, stood up there, didn't miss a beat. She didn't stop talking. There was audience participation, audience stories. It was so funny. She's so real, so authentic. I mean, as far as like everything I've seen from her on social media and things I've heard from people that know her in real life. One of my costumer friends just DM'd me saying that she used to work with her in Nashville on TV sets a lot, and Shannon was a background actor, and she was always amazing and so nice and hilarious, and she always remembered her because of her amazing personality and her red hair. But basically, Shannon is just like down to earth, amazing, and she's one of my dream guests to have on the podcast because I do feel like we'd get along so well, and we could like potentially be friends. So anyway, check her out. It's probably Shannon on Instagram. And then her podcast is called Probably a Podcast. So cute. But anyway, from a podcast host perspective, I was so enthralled by the experience. I think I had in my head that in order to do a live show, you needed to be like, I mean, she's huge, of course. She has a huge following. But I think I had it in my head that you needed this like huge production team and 20 mics, and I don't know. I just thought you needed so much more to have an effective, beautiful, lovely show. And this bitch had 2 fold-up chairs on stage, and a bottle of tequila, and one mic, one cable, and walked around. And people were cackling their ass off. So I was really just like inspired, and I want to do a live podcast show now, even though I will shit my pants on stage. That'll be part of the routine, and it'll be perfect. It'll be great, and you guys will all laugh. But anyway, yeah, check her out. Probably Shannon, probably a podcast on Instagram, and go tell her that she should be on my show one day. I'm gonna DM her. Actually, she reposted like 2 of my stories. I took screenshots of it because of manifestation. You know what I mean? So that's that. Okay, now I'm going to take a big gulp of wine because we're about to get into the last 2 sagas of the episode, and they're long sagas. So if I was talking fast, you're right, because I'm trying to make this not a late episode. We just had Jake from the Nightcap over, and he was helping Cinco and I, just giving us some like extra advice on like how we could improve, get some better lighting in here. I love everyone from the Nightcap. Obviously, we love Carolina, who we did an episode with, and Jake, and producer Hobby, and Matt, and Anna, the new producer. And of course, I've made so many good connections with other humans on that show that it's been really, what a blessing, what a blessing. God, who am I? What a blessing. Who says that? Hashtag blessed. Okay, do you guys remember like 6 weeks, 2 months ago, I was talking about how I had a BMW lease, and it was going to be up, and I'm a bratty, privileged bitch, and all I wanted was a 4Runner. Good news. Got the 4Runner. I didn't plan on it. So I'm going to take you through the new car saga, and then the lease saga. And I can't be arsed to talk about it anymore. Like, because I mean, it's my own doing. Like, I'm the one talking about it. No one's putting a gun to my head and making me talk about it. But I'm just so happy that it's fucking over. I want this behind me. Okay, so the new car saga. Basically, one of my best friend's dads is the one who helped me with my original BMW lease before I moved to Texas. That lease was up, so I was going through him to get another one. So he was having his employees or whatever help me into getting a new lease. Well, my original lease was pre-COVID, or it was actually, right around COVID, September of 2020. So 1, I got a great price. 2, I was friends and family discount. Okay. I got a great fucking price on a car. I didn't want a BMW, but that was like the great deal that he could get me. Amazing. I'll take it. My payment was in the 300s. I'll tell you that much. I know, mic drop. That's insane. So now that his people are helping me find a new lease recently, the prices are obviously way the hell higher. They're in the 500s, the 600s, the 700s for a lease. And I'm like, this is insane. How am I going to pay $500, $600, $700 a month for a car that I don't even want? Like, he was sending me photos of these and videos of these amazing brand new 2023 X1 white, perfect, like everything I wanted. But I'm like, I don't want, if I'm going to spend double, like if I'm going to spend outside of what I want to spend, and I want it to be the car that I want, and I want a 4Runner. They looked into 4Runners for me. They couldn't get the deal because it's obviously a BMW AutoNation dealership. Blah, 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 blah. So I wake up, I tell my coworker, my friend Brandy, I was telling her about it, and she had kind of known about my whole situation because I talk her ear off all the time, of course, at work. And she's like, well, if you ever want to go to the Toyota dealership, I'll go with you. I'm like, okay. So I wake up one morning, Saturday morning, and I have a text from Brandy. She's like, let me know if you want to go to the Toyota dealership. And I was like, you know what? Let's go. Let's just see what we're working with here, right? Go to the Toyota dealership, and I'm in my bag. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in my funny, can't fuck with me bag. So Brandy, myself, and I'm going to shout him out because he was great. So if you're looking in Houston for a Toyota, go to Mike Calvert Toyota and talk to Mo. Okay? Mo, thank you so much for the help with the new Toyota. I am going to blow up your spot in a second, but don't forget that I said thank you, love you. Anyway, so I'm just, being me, being funny, hilarious me. I do think that Mo took my funniness for flirting because he did leave his number on a post-it in my car when I left, and I didn't use it. And I thank you for that, but you unfortunately don't meet my height requirement. But you were great in every other way. Anyway, go see Mo. But anyway, so basically we get the deal. We get the car for below MSRP. Brandy's a great wingman because she's like, excuse me, what you said was in the car is actually being charged, blah, blah, blah. So Brandy was a huge help. I went over and introduced myself to the manager that he was dealing with, like walked in their little finance arena, invited myself in there, even though it said employees only. Like I was just commanding the room, doing what I needed to do to get the job done. And guess what? Got it done. Okay. So I got the car that I wanted for less than the BMW. So all is well in the world, right? In that moment, though, I'm like, how annoying is it going to be to turn in a lease and not be getting a car from them, right? Like they're probably going to want to screw me over because if I just turned in my lease and was going to get another BMW, they're probably going to look past a few things. Well, I was right. They did want to screw me over. I'm like calling around trying to make sure before I sign this Toyota, on the dotted line that like I'm not going to owe $17,000 on this lease. Like it's my first time leasing. I didn't know how it was going to work. It's my problem. You know what I mean? Like at this point, my car has a small, like, I don't even know how to describe the rock size ding. Like half an inch or less than half an inch in diameter. Ding from a rock in the line of view, right, in the windshield. And I should have gotten that filled. Okay, that's number one, but I didn't because I'm a procrastinator and like I don't have a man that's doing it for me yet, so I didn't want to. Secondly, I needed my brakes fixed. There was a brake light on. Thirdly, I did need my engine oil serviced. So those were the things I knew that I was going to get like talked to about, but I was like, all right, fine, I'll just like pay the price or go fix them. So I had asked around people like, hey, like, have you leased before? What should I do? What should I do? How should I go about it? And people were like, basically everyone had, my own issue is that I asked so many people for their opinions and so many people's opinions were differing that then I got confused and then I didn't know what to do. So I just went to go get a pre-inspection. I'm going to call them BMW 1, BMW Store 1, BMW Store 2, and BMW Store 3. So I went to get a pre-inspection at BMW Store 1, which is a closer location. It's a location I've never been to my house, but I was like, perfect. It's close. I don't want to go all the way out to BMW Store number 2 because it's far away from my house. And if I'm just turning in my car, like I don't give a fuck who I've been dealing with for the past 3 years, like with my services and stuff like that. I go to BMW Store number 1, ask for a pre-inspection. This motherfucker. I want to write an email to him cussing him out so bad because he's really a psychopath. This was the TJ Maxx of BMW dealerships. Like we were not dressed appropriately. People had like really like weirdly grown out facial hair. Like it just didn't look professional. And absolutely I'm judging off of appearances right here. But like appearances mean something. You need to be well kept and groomed and dress nicely. Like a BMW dealership, we're not on a used car sales lot. I don't know. I just had a different idea from what I've seen at BMW Store number 2 when I've gone. Anyway, this guy was like, young and didn't really give a fuck. He was bitching about Post-its. I don't know. Went out to go look at my car, and I was like, oh, walking behind him. And he's like, you can stay inside. And I was like, I can't come with you. And he's like, you can stay inside. I was like, okay, weird. And it's like, I don't want to be rowdy. I don't want to cause a scene. So I was sitting inside. He comes back in with this paper that he's filled out. He tells me if I turn my car in how it is, it's going to cost me $2,000. He tells me that I need to get my windshield replaced because of the ding, the rock ding, for $300. I need to fix my brakes for $750. I need to, both of my 2 front tires have dry rot, which everyone who I've talked to about the leases were basically saying as long as your tread is fine, you should be able to turn in your car with your previous tires. He told me I had dry rot in my tires, which I didn't know what that was at first. I left, then I Googled photos, and I realized this guy's full of shit. Dry rot is basically like an 80-year-old woman who sat in the sun for her entire life, full of wrinkles. My car didn't have a fucking wrinkle in the tire. So he was straight up lying. But it's like I didn't know at the time. I didn't say anything back to him. And then if you're not getting another BMW, they charge you, or another car, they charge you a $350 disposition fee. So he was like, all right, if you turn it in like this, we're going to charge you $2,000. Or you can go, get your brakes fixed elsewhere. You can go get a windshield replacement at Affordable Auto Glass. Here's the recommendation, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I left this place totally freaking out because I just bought a new Toyota, put some down payment on that, and now I have to pay $2,000 for this lease, that money in this car that I'm going to get rid of. So then I'm freaking out. Of course, talking my friend's ear off about it. My friend Jay Jones is like, go to my car guy, get your brakes fixed there. So I drive out to Manville, Texas, which is not close. It's like 45 minutes away. Drive out there, get my brakes fixed for cheap. He hooks me up on the oil change, blah, 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 gets all those sensors turned off. I call BMW store number 2, and I'm like, hey, it's Paige. I normally come to your store for the past 3 years. Shouldn't have done it, but I went to the one closer than me. Anyway, I'm trying to turn in my lease, but I think I'm being messed around with. Can I make an appointment with you for a second opinion? The woman's like, no problem. Like, we got along, chummed it up on the phone. I go in. Oh, sorry. No, forgot. Scheduled an appointment to go in, but then I leave the Manville, Texas mechanic with the brakes, and the mechanic goes, just so you know, your back brakes have a crack in them and they need to be fixed. So I don't know how long your sensor is going to stay off for, but you should take that car straight to BMW and turn that in if you don't want to fix the back brakes. And I was like, oh God, okay, I have an appointment tomorrow morning. Maybe I should just go now. I'm not sure. So I start driving home. I'm about 15 minutes away from my home, which is about 30 minutes. Guess what comes on in my car? Brake light sensor. Brake light sensor. I'm like, oh my God. So then I call the guy back, and he's like, I mean, I can cut the wire. I'm like, cut the wire? Listen, I'm not trying to go to fucking jail. What are we doing here? He's like, no, it's not that big of a deal. Blah, blah. I'm like, they're going to get in the hood or wherever the fuck the brakes are. I don't know. They're going to get under the car, and they're going to be like, this bitch cut a wire. Wow. Like, cuff her, take her to jail, throw her in a dungeon. So, and I got a second opinion on that too. I called my friend, and he was like, yeah, I feel like that's a bad look. Like, you're going to get more trouble, or they're going to want to find more things wrong with your car if they saw that you were trying to deceive them. You know what I mean? And I know this is a very long story, guys, but it's worth it. So then I'm like, fine, I'm driving straight to the dealership, and I'm just going to see what this BMW store number 2 says about my car. Okay. Second opinion. So I go there, she comes out, and she's like, huh, nice looking tires. Okay. I'm like, oh, weird. In my head, I'm like, weird. That guy said I had fucking dry rot. What a liar. Like, they don't have a standard paperwork that they're looking at. It's just all opinion based. It's wild. A scam. It's a scam. So she's like, okay, great tires. Da 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 da. Yeah, you're probably gonna have to get this windshield fixed. That's gonna be $1,200. $1,200. The other guy said $300. What are you talking about? $1,200. She's like, I said, I went to a first place and they said $300. She's like, oh, because of the sensor and the this and the that and the labor, it's going to be $1,200. I'll have to double check that price, but I'm pretty sure. And then also you have a brake light on. I'm like, yeah, I know. I just got the front brakes fixed. She's like, at a BMW. And I'm like, she caught me. Damn it. I said, no. And she's like, you're not supposed to get BMWs fixed anywhere else but BMW. And I said, well, I'm not very like car savvy or something. Like, I don't know. Sorry about that. And she's like, okay, well, maybe they fixed it and they just didn't know how to turn the sensor off. I'm like, I don't know, maybe. But of course, I know that it was really the back brake. She's like, okay, go through the service line and talk to, we're going to call this person Jay. Go to the service and talk to Jay. I'm like, okay. And she's like, and then come talk to me after you talk to Jay. So I go through the service line. Jay is on lunch break. And I'm like, oh, man, like, I think I need Jay. And then the BMW helper person comes up and she's like, sorry, like, can I get you with another, service advisor? And I was like, I don't know. I guess I'll just see anyone. I'll get a second opinion on what this person says. So then we'll call this person Kay. So Kay, we get along. We start chumming it up. And I think I'm just like on my last fucking leg. I'm like, can I get a shot of tequila? I literally tell him, I'm like, do you have any tequila back there? He's like, no, ma'am. Like, do you have anything? Like Bloody Mary? Like, what do you got back there? I'm really on my I'm going to freak out. And he's like, all right, let's see what I can do. I'm a service advisor. And I can tell he's funny, So we start talking about video editing. I don't know how, his son, his softball. And I talk about my podcast, blah, 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 blah. He tells me, he's like, all right, your back brakes need to be fixed. It's going to be $310, which the mechanic was $210. So I should have just gotten them fixed by the mechanic, obviously. But he's like, all right, it's going to be $310. And I was like, all right. And then what about the thing in my windshield? And he's like, let me call over so-and-so. So we'll call this guy. I don't know what we'll call this guy. We'll call this guy AJ. Got to keep these fake names right. I don't want to get anyone in trouble because I'm so famous with my podcast. They're going to hear this. So then AJ starts walking over and Kay is like, AJ, can you take a look at that ding on the windshield? And as he's walking over, he's like, oh, on the BMW X2, like 2020 BMW X2, I saw it. And I said, okay, fucking relax. It's not that big of a rock ding. Keep your voice down. He's like, no, I mean, windshield is it's my whole job. Like, I just spot him, Like, I'm like, all right, well, what do you got? He goes, oh, I can fix that in 2 seconds. Make it look like it was never there. And I said, do that. Kay, my service advisor, was like, ooh, she's turning in her lease, though. Windshield guy goes, oh, with Susan, the woman? And he goes, yeah. And I said, oh, Susan's not going to accept a repair. She wants a replacement. She told me it was going to be $1,200. And he goes, yeah. And I said, well, what if I go back to Susan? I'm like, hey, Susan, talk to the windshield guy, talk to the service guy. Windshield guy says he could fix that little ding. No issue there. Won't even know it's there. And we'll just turn on the car. And he goes, I said, why don't we just do a little banter? By the way, windshield guy was from the UK and he played rugby. How do I know this so much information? Because I'm an idiot and can't stop talking. And I was like, you don't think we can go banter with Susan? And he's like, Susan, you don't really banter with Susan. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, I'm not buying a new windshield on this goddamn car. I'm not doing it. I'm telling them this. I'm like, you guys are a scam. BMW's a scam. Adulting's a scam. Automotive, dealership, everything is a scam. Like, honestly, you two both are very nice, but you played rugby, so you're probably a dick because I dated a rugby guy and he was a dick. So what are we going to do? They're like laughing at me. So we're sitting there and they're just like, ma'am, do you want us to like fix your car? Do you want us to do these things? And I said, here's what we're going to do. You're going to fix my brakes, even though I can get them cheaper at a mechanic. Fine. We'll pay full price for that. You're going to repair my windshield at a friends and family discount because of what you put me through with the rugby guy that I dated that you don't even know. Okay? Friends and family discount. You're going to give me a discount on the windshield repair. I'm going to drive off this lot and I'm not going to go back and see Susan. Susan thinks I'm returning the car to Susan. Susan wants my car on the lot. Susan's never going to see me again. They were like, I think that sounds like a good idea. And I was like, you guys agree? And they were like, you definitely agree. Like, you can go to another BMW dealership and they're not going to notice after I repair your rock chip. I said, oh my God, we're conspiring. This is so much fun. Like, now can we do it again? I'm just so horny about it. So anyway, that's exactly what the fuck I do. So we leave. I get the car fixed. I go to pick up the car the next morning and I drive straight to BMW store number 3. This is the third BMW in 6 days that I've been to. I drive straight to BMW number 3. And I manifested on the way. Do you guys remember last episode I had Christina on and she was talking about like lucky girl syndrome, abundance syndrome, manifestation, like everything's going to work out for you? I swear to God, I was channeling her. I was driving to this BMW store number 3 and I was like, this is going to work out for me. I've already been through enough. This is the 3rd BMW. This is going to work out for me. I'm not going to have any problems at this BMW. I pull up the fucking G. I'm gonna name her because y'all should go see. If you want a BMW, go to BMW and Katie and talk to Bella. She was amazing. If she ever realizes that I lied to her, she probably won't think that same thing. But anyway, she comes out, looks at my car, and she goes, by the way, so now everything's fixed, right? Like the crack is repaired. I didn't do anything to the tires because there's nothing fucking wrong with them. The brake lights are off and that's it. Like, what else do I need to do? Nothing. She comes out and she's like, wow, oh my God, what a pretty car. I'm like, oh, thanks. And she's like, have you gotten new tires? Have you gotten new tires is what she said to me. When BMW store number 1 told me I had dry rot, this girl's like, have you gotten new tires? That's how good my tires looked. I'm like, no, same tires as when I got it. And she's like, wow, what good condition. She's like, your car's in really good condition. And of course, like I said, the brake light's off now, like all that stuff's fixed. But she's like, wow, like this is one of the nicest conditions I've ever seen a car brought in. I said, really? I said, well, I mean, she needs a car wash. And she's like, oh my God, that's the least of my worries. I'm like, okay. By the way, we talked at the BMW store number 2, don't wash the car because then the rock chip will be less noticeable. You know what I mean? Like the whole repair. So the car was still really dirty. So then she's like dealing with the paperwork and then she's like, yeah, she's like, I think you're going to be good. I'm like, you think I'm going to be good? Like, what kind of good? She's like, I think you're going to, I don't think you're going to have any issues turning in the car. I was like, okay, you sure? I'm just waiting for her to like, rain on my parade. She's like, no, let me go with the paperwork. And I said, hey, do you mind? My friend's going to pick me up. Do you mind how long is this going to take? How long should I tell her? And she goes, oh, we can get you an Uber home. You're going to get me an Uber home? Like, I know they do that for services when you're getting your car fixed, but I'm turning in my car and I'm not spending more money with you. You're getting me an Uber? She's like, yeah, of course. I'm like, okay, is this a trick? What's happening? She's like, yeah, let me call you an Uber. And she's like, here's the paperwork. So just sign here, sign here, sign here. I'm like, what am I signing? She's like, that you're leaving the car at, 29,000 miles in this condition. You're good to go. And I was like, do I owe you that like $350 disposition fee? And she's like, oh, BMW Financial will contact you about that. But other than that, your car's like in pristine condition. I don't need anything else from you. And I was like, okay. I was like, are you sure? Like giving her any chance to be like, no. So I signed the paper, get in my Uber, I leave. I get home 40 minutes later. I have a missed call. I knew it was from her. And a text message. Hey, Paige, it's Bella from BMW. Call me ASAP. I was like, shit. She saw the rock chip. I'm fucked. They're going to come arrest me. Like, I've committed fraud. I called my friend Brandy. I'm like, you're going to just die. And she's like, oh my God. She's like, this is the car that will not go away. She's like, didn't you sign the paperwork? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, there's nothing you can do. Like, you signed the paperwork. You don't know what happened in between the time that you left the car there. Like, sorry, some fucking rock chipped my windshield, bitch. Figure it out. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Like, I'm not going to take any more shit. I was ready to rumble with Bella from BMW Katie. I call her back. And by the way, I almost thought about ghosting her because I was like, I'm just never going to call her back. Like, she has my car. She has my keys. I signed the paperwork. I never need to talk to anyone again. No one contact me from BMW ever again. I call her back. She's like, hey, Paige. I'm like, hey. She goes, I've been in the office with my manager since you left. I said, oh no. She goes, yeah. So instead of putting your car back on the lease fleet, I loved it so much. I've been fighting with my manager because I want to sell it again or something. Like, basically, instead of putting it back in the lease fleet of cars, she wants to buy it to sell it to somebody, like not a lease. I don't understand that jargon, but basically that's what she said. And I was like, okay. And she's like, so the reason why I wanted you to call me back so fast is because there's going to be equity in the vehicle. I said, okay. And she's like, so that means you get money from the car. Huh? And she's like, yeah, because we're going to buy the car from you, there's equity left in the car. So do you want to come pick up a check? But since you don't have a car right now, because I lied to her and told her that I didn't have a new car, she was like, so since you don't have a new car, I was thinking that the bank could just sell you the equity, the remainder. I was silent. She goes, are you Paige? Are you there? I was like, sorry, you're giving me money for the car? And she's like, yeah, happy Saturday. And I was like, okay, are you sure? She's like, yeah, this is good news. And I was like, totally. Okay. She's like, is your email set up with your Zelle? I was like, I think so. I was shaking, you guys. I was ready to go to battle with this girl. I was going to be like, you know what? I went to 3 fucking BMWs. I'm sorry that you guys don't have a standard process that you follow. One told me dry rot. One told me this. One told me that. I don't know. Like, sorry about the dent. Figure it out. I'm over it. I signed the paperwork. Don't call me ever again. Imagine if I ghosted her. I got the Zelle today. This was 3 days ago that I talked to her on the phone. I got the Zelle today in my bank account. Money for this car that I was about to owe $2,000 to at BMW store number 1. What? I don't even know how to, I just don't even know what to do with that. So basically, I got new brakes on my car and I got the windshield repair, and it's literally the same amount. Like, I put in about $600 to the car before I gave it away or gave it back. I got a $600 direct deposit from Toyota or from BMW. Like, I don't know how this all worked out for me. Maybe it has something to do with what Christina said last episode. I swear to God, I manifested it on the way there. I was like, it's going to work out for me. And it really worked out for me. So I know that was the longest new car and leasing saga story ever. If you're still here, bless you. I don't even know. I feel like lucky girl syndrome. No, not possibly after all that fucking bullshit I went through. But here's the moral of the story. The moral of the story is, if you have a ding in your windshield and you have a lease, go get it filled. Don't go there with a rock chip in your windshield. Okay? Idiot. Number 1, me. Moral of the story number 2 is, if you have any alerts on your car that you need new brakes or oils, you need to do that. Idiot me. And number 3 is, if somebody tells you shit about your tires, fight back and go to 3 BMW dealerships if you have to. So that's the moral of my leasing story. I know you guys, again, if you're still here, thank you, Jesus. If you're not, I get it. It was a long story, but my poor friends and coworkers had to deal with this multiple times. So it was only fair I did it to you guys. And actually, I had so many people on Instagram asking me about what the result was. And I said, I literally can't tell the story a million times. You're going to have to tune into my podcast episode. So there's that for you. There's that for you. So yay me. I got money back from my car. And I'm in my dream car. I've wanted a 4Runner since I was 20-ish. So I'm really excited. And then I got this tacky little disco ball with a cowboy hat ornament for my car on the rear view mirror. And I was telling my niece, I can't decide if I like it or not because it is very tacky. But I'm like, I'm tacky, so I think it works out. Wow, that, I feel like I need to take a breath and a drink. That's the literal episode talking about my car lease and car turn-in. Before I go, I do have a wine of the week, which is, I don't want to bring down the episode at all, but my wine of the week is, I have some friends right now who are going through some really hard times back in California. And my wine of the week is living far from your friends. Typically, I'm totally fine with it. The past 3 years, they've been good as gold. You know what I mean? We've been good. But let's face it, like me, I am the fixer. I am the person that does things for everyone. And that's how I feel valued and of need and cherished. And I like to make other people feel that way, even though I don't accept help from anyone. It's weird, I know. But it's been a little bit of a struggle because I don't know how to be there for my friends from far away. Like I just don't even know the questions to ask. Like I just would drive to my friend's house, or I'd show up with food and candy and flowers and chips and salsa and just hug them and be there and whine and drink and cry and laugh and make a dead joke or something. But I have to do it over text and it just doesn't seem right. So yeah, that's my wine of the week. Again, not to bring down the episode, but also I think on the flip side of that, I think it is a positive that I've been able to maintain, a friendship with these friends, that I do get to be involved in the way that I can from afar, to be able to try and help them through hard times. So that's my wine of the week. That's fucking it. That's it. Happy Halloween. Be safe. Wear condoms. Don't get left on red. You're too good for them, honey. And leave a review. Spotify, Apple, YouTube, subscribe. Adultish Wines for merch. And of course, follow me on Instagram at adultishwines, at page_Crutcher. See you next Thursday. Love you. Bye.